Welcome everybody to our learning support panel. This is part of Destination 2024, and it is specifically geared towards part-time faculty teaching gateway courses, all of whom are going to be coming up with kind of an action plan for their fall classes. And one component of that could be to integrate some learning support systems and other supportive systems into their classes as part of what they offer to their students. So I am going to have my wonderful participants here introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about what their department does, where they're located in the Valencia system, because I know we have different campuses represented and all kinds of things. So Sadia, why don't you go ahead and start? You were here first and you're first on my screen. So
Oh,
we're going to do it in that order.
okay, that's fine. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sadia Inchan, and I'm the counselor here at the Poinciana campus. So this is my home campus. We're a team of 14 counselors college-wide. So we help students with academic and emotional wellness. So I go into the classrooms at the beginning of the semesters, and I introduce myself to the professors, and I also introduce myself to the students, and I let them know about counseling services, where I'm located, the days that I'm on campus. So we meet with students virtually, over the phone, and in person. And I explain to them that we go over different areas of counseling. So we talk about time management, how to be successful in college, depression, anxiety, anything basically that they bring to the table that they want to share with us. We're open to a discussion. We're not mental health, we're not licensed mental health therapists. We're just here as a guide and a tool for a resource for students with academic wellness and emotional wellness. So we do go over some academic areas, but in terms of like counseling, like that one-on-one therapy session, we refer students to Baycare.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, this is absolutely perfect for what we're talking about in Destination because one of our keynote speakers, Ms. Kavanaugh, has written a book about emotions and learning and how important that is. So what a timely tying together of academics and emotion. I love it. It's perfect. All right, Emily, I will let you go next.
Hi, I'm Emily Buckley. I am librarian for the Lake Nona campus. I have worked with professors in their courses, going into classes, whether it's a 5-minute meet and greet, tours of the library, or a 45-minute long library instruction where I show how to use our resources. I can help students do research activities. I will meet with students one-on-one in the library or on Zoom, showing them, giving them kind of customized like a research concierge. And I've also done embedded librarian, where I go into the online course and will respond to students in discussion boards, things like that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Emily, because that's something I've done in the past, and it is really helpful to have that, especially in a class like ENC 1101, or I can see that being beneficial to the political science teachers as well, because they're always arguing, well, I don't teach writing and research. Well, but you can have a partner. So I like that. That's great. And last but
Yeah.
not least, Helen, would you fill us in on who you are?
Hi, everyone. It feels a little bit strange doing introductions. I feel like I actually have met all of you in some form or fashion or another. But hi, I'm Helen O'Connor. I am the Writing Center Supervisor at the Poinciana campus. So this is also a joint supervisor position as well with the math counterpart that we essentially I'm supervising over the tutors, and that could be a math tutor, science tutor. But my biggest wheelhouse, especially with influence, is the writing center portion of the plaza. This is all academic support through and through. It can be something small from students are trying to set up printing. Sometimes it can be some basic things with Atlas, using web courses in general, Microsoft Suite. emails. If they're panicking, they usually come find us. And it's usually where they'll start with us and we'll work our way out. So that ends up being a big part of it. But the intended portion of our services is tutoring. So if I were to speak more specific to the writing side, this is across the curriculum, but with limitations. So composition, humanities, this would also incorporate for ENC 1101 then, and any of the writing in your courses. So it could be business, NSE, resumes, and creative writing that students will come in and they'll discuss what they've got to like what they have to offer. So I think on a overall spiel, that's what we essentially have, but we're looking at tutoring sessions that are through walk-ins. Nothing has to be done ahead of time, so we usually get to see students for anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes or so, and that's definitely a lot of time that our consultants as well as other supervisors we get to spend with the students directly with their work and what their headspace is like around it. And it's a little bit about me.
Personally, I love that we have Nona and Poinciana represented here today. What?
Woohoo!
All but mighty, right? That's us.
Mm-hmm.
So Helen, do you find that faculty ever have you guys kind of come in and introduce yourselves to the classes and things like that as well?
Forgive me. Yeah, that's a big chunk of what we do as well as in the beginning of semesters, we'll go out to visit classrooms or classes will visit us so they can see the plaza. We do find that that tangibility is really important because if the professor's like, hey, you would walk in here and you would see these people, but we don't have to speak conditionally because here they are and you can actually meet them. We'll do class visits, whether there or here. Sometimes it's impromptu, sometimes they would want to plan it ahead of time. And then we also follow up later on with like embedded tutorings. That can look like next week we have a perfect timing, a Comp 1 class is coming in for an introductory uh, an introductory meet on Monday. The idea is that they are just starting a low profile, nothing difficult assignment, but they'll have the opportunity to see the plaza, learn about our services, and spend an hour of their class time working with us consultants. So that way it can kind of break the ice a little bit while they also can brainstorm this already low profile, not too difficult of an assignment. And
Mm.
then, what was it? Later on, the intention is that they'll be coming back for more specific embedded tutoring for consultations. And that's where it can get a little bit more stressful once they've received their feedback on like an initial draft or an outline. And they'll come back to us again. So that way, um, many of them are bold enough and they'll come in on their own anyways. And that's what we
Right.
love to see. But of course, this helps out a lot for the Comp 1 students, NSC courses, anyone who's just in that initial, I don't know who to go to, at least when they're getting these introductions, not just as a, hi there, this is who we are, but really getting to work with us already for at least a half an hour of a time, somewhat against their will because it's during class time. It actually works phenomenally for them to feel more comfortable to return. Like, I've already talked to you for 40 minutes, of course I'll come back type of headspace. So yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mention that part of some of the aspects
No,
that we
that's good.
offer.
I wanted, this is one of the things I really want to highlight because I know that that's a big part of all three of the types of services that you guys have, which is if people feel unsure, they won't go seek out help. Some of them will, and I love how you said that, Helen. Some of them will just, they're bold, they're going to come in, they're going to go help me, and everything is going to be cool. But I know that, you know, a lot of students just don't know where to go or don't even know what kinds of things are offered. And more importantly, I don't know that all faculty members know what's really offered by the school. So I think this idea of having connections between the faculty members and the people in your departments, no matter which campus they teach on, is going to be beneficial for everybody because it's going to help make students and teachers more comfortable coming to you guys, but also, just that face-to-face thing. It's really, really important. Now, I think all of you mentioned, but all of these support services are available at all the campuses and in some form of fully online version, correct? Sadia, is that true for the counseling? I know that, I think you mentioned that, but I can't.
Yes. So our counseling appointments are virtually over the phone and in person. We have a counselor at each campus, except for the Lake Nona campus. The
Oh,
East Campus, yeah. The East Campus counselors rotate
yeah.
to Lake Nona. So I do believe when they rotate, they're there 2 days a week, but there's not a counselor that's permanently there. But counseling services is college-wide. So if a student did need to make an appointment or, meet with us virtually or over the phone, like we're still able to support the Lake Nona campus.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I know you wouldn't forget about us entirely. That would be terrible. No, I think that's great. It's interesting because I mean, we've all lived through the pandemic, and I, I I think some of the things that have happened since then have been really good because of that availability of non-in-person meetings and things like that. Emily, I know every campus has a library and every campus has amazing librarians like you. And I assume that, I mean, because they can do most of their research at home in their pajamas, that certainly the online materials are there. What does the library offer in terms of that kind of online support for faculty who may be teaching fully online?
Yeah, so faculty as well as students can connect with us through Ask a Librarian, and that is open, which I really like. Don't quote me on the hours, but they are open Sunday through Thursday until midnight. And Friday, Saturday until 9 p.m. So that way, if students or faculty are night owls, they can get a Lake Nona, not sorry, a Valencia College librarian until 9 p.m. So if they have any questions, we also have our library guides. So faculty can connect with librarians and get a custom library guide website made for their courses. They're customized to the assignments as well as any expectations the faculty might have.
Yeah, I have embraced the library guides recently. We need to work on a personal one though, so I think we can do that this summer, Emily. But
I can
I
help
think
you.
yeah, I know you can. I absolutely know. Helen, I know that there's online tutoring as well. How is that managed with your group and with the all the groups at Valencia? Is that something that everybody kind of contributes to, or how does the online tutoring work?
So online tutoring has made some recent remodelings of sorts. So this is actually a good time to ask because if you've known things before,
It's
it
not true
still has,
anymore.
yeah, it's like it might be true, maybe not, depends on the
Right.
situation. But it is one of those things, as you mentioned, Jacqueline, about kind of had some nice things that came from the pandemic in essence. And one of those is the access to online tutoring that didn't exist until the pandemic. And they've revamped it to now being not distance tutoring, which kind of came from this keeping social distance
Right.
terminology, but now just being online tutoring. And it used to be where we would all contribute as like the same hours, where we would be, some of us would be there on some hours, but now it is its own entity.
Oh, cool.
So instead of it, just like you would treat another campus, the online tutoring, they have their own primary, I guess like they're tutors that are primary online tutors. However, if they do need additional help and so on, we have had any of our tutors within our own campuses or respective campuses may also contribute a couple of hours as well. There is a set schedule though, so then that way you can look at this online. We have access to that, as well as I'm trying to think a way to access it now that it's behind a they put some of the things behind like a firewall so that way outside uh outside of Valencia college students wouldn't be able to reach it, but there's now a way that it is put onto an open access in the event that we do have even dual enrollment students who are still interested or they're taking the PERT. So we still have some of those accessibility available. But it is its own entity now, and it is run by Nelson. There's like more than one Nelson, so I always have to like double check. Um, Let me see.
I'm with
Nelson.
you. I came from a school that had like a grand total of like 500 people that worked there. And so coming to Valencia, it's like, oh my gosh, keeping track of all the people there
I
is a
just
little
wanted to make sure, yeah, like I didn't say the wrong one. So I was like, I believe we're looking at Nelson Torres Arroyo.
okay.
So he's the one who would run that part of it, just like as a separate supervisor of sorts. But there's also Wendy Dupree and Shanika. I don't remember Shanika's last name. Shanika Haynes Schuler. So these three people together, phenomenal, wonderful people. Um, they work together to kind of make sure that the schedules are there. They'll reach out and still be familiar with what all is going on our end. And the beautiful part is beyond, say, here in Point Siena, we don't offer all the subjects for tutoring
Right.
because if we don't even have a, say, chemistry class, we don't necessarily have a chemistry tutor. We don't offer programming, so we wouldn't have a computer science tutor formally speaking. But at least if you're able to check these schedules online, online tutoring will have that available, and they're open 7 days a week. Unless they changed it, I'm a quote Emily to say,
Probably.
don't quote me,
Yeah.
but if their hours are still the same, then you're looking at Monday through Friday. They're open, I think 9 to 9, like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., or it might be 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. I know they close at 9 p.m. And then on Sundays, it's 11 to, or sorry, Saturdays and Sundays is 11 to 7 p.m. So
Okay.
even if you are trying to get that access on online on the weekend, we also mention that to the students that we're working with, since you might come across a student who's like, that's great, but I kind of checked out because I work 7 days a week. So I'm not
Right.
going to be here. Or I'm an online student for a reason because I need to be flexible and work at 3 a.m. and do this there. So we
Right.
try to let them know. So if need be, it's like, hey, don't completely rule it out. You don't need to necessarily have an appointment. You click on a link, you open up a QR code just like you would anything else, and you can pop your head in and out 10 minutes because of a quick question you have about citations. Don't let formalities be a reason to be discouraged because
Yeah.
they're not there. So that's
Yeah.
usually a big thing we emphasize. Like when the moment you think it's going to be super formal, like, oh, I'm not going to have time. I'm like, we see people in their pajamas in the car. They're like, not everybody puts their video on for that reason, but at least you
Right.
can get the help you need. Like, worry
Yeah.
about that after you open up the Zoom chat. So, online tutoring is a phenomenal resource as well, especially when we have moments that students are like, I can't drive all the way out to Osceola and I need help with this topic, but I'm taking it online. And that way we can guide them through that way. So if they do come in person here, sometimes we'll navigate and help them to open it up, get them to save the link and so on so they have it bookmarked as well. And that way it's like, hey, you see it, it's not that scary. We can walk you through the process, meet you, like introduce you to the moderators so that way when you need it later, you've already done it. You don't have to panic about first time. It's already
Yeah.
done.
Right.
So that's an added aspect as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really important for the faculty members to know too, because like I said, a lot of times they'll come to us. Emily, you've experienced this as well. It may be about a class that they're not taking with me, but they'll want to know, where can I go for help? So I think that's really important. Sadia, I was curious because we've just been talking about these 7-day schedules and these these nights and things. Is counseling available in the evenings? What are kind of the availability hours for your services at Valencia?
So I would say, so all the counselors have different schedules, but just to
Sure.
be on the safe side, I would say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. Okay. And of
Um,
course, we can always make arrangements for the student if they need help beyond what you guys provide. I know that you do have places to refer them to as well.
Yes. I also wanted to share my screen if you don't mind.
Sure, let
Um,
me make sure you can. I don't know why my Zoom doesn't like me to have people share, and I really love when people share. So there we go, to be able to.
Okay, so we like to promote our new website. It's the counseling
Awesome.
website. And this is what it looks like. Just let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, okay. So this is what it looks like. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can learn more about us as counselors. So this is our counseling team. One counselor is missing because when we took this picture, she was on sabbatical.
Or
And it's everyone. That's our dean, Dr. Andelphisa May. So that's just a little bit about us. If a student wanted to make an appointment themselves, they would hit talk to a counselor
okay.
and they would fill out this form and they would just type in like, you know, everything that they want to talk about, like all of their concerns.
That's great. And I will tell you guys all what I've done for the participants in Destination is the student support week is a virtual week and not a live face-to-face week. So everything is embedded in Canvas. And so they are going to be clicking on all of these pages, just so you know, because
Yeah.
I think that's very valuable to be able to navigate to it. Because sometimes even just finding things on the website can be overwhelming, not only for students, but for the faculty members who are trying to help them. So
Mhm.
I think that's a really good reminder
Yeah.
that all of it's there.
Yeah.
It's
And
there.
the biggest thing that we like to promote is talk to a counselor and
Right.
refer a student. So
Sure.
refer a student is for faculty and staff that
Right.
want to refer a student. And then it asks like specific questions like, does the student know that you're referring them and things like that. We also have resources on our website that's really good. So we have like academic
Oh, nice.
advising, cancer
Yeah.
center, daycare, all of these resources that they can connect with. So it's not just counseling services, like, you know, tutoring is on here as well, learning support, things like that. So
That's
that's how
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even if the professors are not able to have me in their classroom, I'd share the link with them so that they can
Sure.
share it with their students.
Well, and one thing I would invite faculty members to do, obviously connect with the people who are on whatever campus you're teaching on, if you are teaching face to face or in
Mhm.
mixed mode. But you know, this kind of interaction is something that they could share with their students. So even if they're teaching a class in the evening, they could have a conversation with you and then share this with them. So I think those are really good resources to keep in mind. Um, one final question really, because I think everything you guys have talked about has been so helpful. What would you personally want faculty members to know about how you can help their students succeed? What if you could leave them with one thing that they should know about what you guys do, what would it be?
Um, so for me, I dropped the link in the chat. So if you want to also save that for
Yeah.
your notes as well. I would say the one thing that we want students to know is for counseling is that we're here as a resource for academic wellness and emotional wellness, and also providing them with the website because there's a lot of great information and a wealth of information. And sometimes you want to make an appointment, but you don't know how to make an appointment. You don't know who to ask. So you can do it on the website. It's discreet, you know, no one needs to know, or you could just talk to your professor about it. But the one thing that we want them to know is that we're here for them as a support. It's an overwhelming process, you know, going through your academic career, wanting to finish at a certain time or feeling overwhelmed. And we want them to know that if they're experiencing any type of depression or anxiety, they're not alone. They have this support and it's us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the most important things for the faculty to know about your group in particular is how it's different from academic advising, but also kind of in concert with academic advising. And I'm sure, because this is always true, that if somebody comes to you and it's really an academic advising question, you will send them to the right people. So I think that's don't be afraid to ask the question, even if you're not sure you have the right person. I think that's probably a good way to think about it, right?
And
Emily. Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that we do have a lot of students that
Okay,
they
good.
make an appointment and they think because they're coming from high school, they think counseling. So they
Right.
think that like, oh, my counselor is going to help me with my classes, but we just reroute them. But we do explain to them like, hey, this is what we do. Are you experiencing any of these things? Excuse me, we give them the opportunity to share that with us.
Right.
And if they are, then we're like, okay, well, let's talk about this. And this is who your assigned advisor is, or this is how you can meet with an academic advisor. And if they're not, we just, refer them.
Absolutely. Emily, what would you want to say directly to these faculty folks?
Yeah, I think that faculty don't always understand the diversity in the services we offer, and they have the idea that we're going to come in and take up an entire class period
You
and
will if they
class
want you
session.
to.
We are happy to do that.
Exactly.
We're happy to lead the class in research, but I know class time is precious. And so if they want us to make an online resource students can explore on their own or as needed, that's great. If they just want us to come in and say, hi, this is a familiar face, we're happy to do that. So don't be afraid to reach out to librarians, and we can customize what that research assistance looks like for the class.
Absolutely. That was one of my most important lessons in graduate school, back when, nothing was computerized. I would just go to the research librarian and go, here's my topic. And they would run away and they would come back with like stacks and stacks of things. And I was like, yay. So I'm a big fan of the librarian system, in our world. So Helen, last but never least, what one thing would you want faculty to know about the tutoring system and the learning support that can be very class specific, but also can be, utilized by multiple disciplines?
If I had to speak generally from what I see through like whether it's math, science, that like anything that I've noticed of them needing help, um, it would be to tell faculty you could be the most supportive, least scariest person with the clearest expectations, best syllabus, and everything done right. And yet, the power dynamic by which just knowing that they could disappoint you or quite literally fail is just enough, despite all these great things, to not come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I would say know what know what the college offers or know what we are capable of doing, even if that means we can communicate with you and you can let us know what you see is needed and how we can be like collaborating together. Um, and then offer those resources, having them and reminding them that you have access to this, even if it's passively available always in the classroom.
Sure.
I do see a lot of times that like professors will say like we mentioned it or we tick the box and then it'll just be expected to be remembered and students may not recall that they need help until they need help and they're stressing and they're not going to remember what resources they need. So I think if faculty knew what is there while also knowing that, you know what, it's not personal. They're just not going to tell me sometimes, and it just depends on the person, that having the access to it and occasionally reminding, not just like a blanketed, oh, go seek tutoring, but like this person can help you with essays and this can help you with citations. It only
Right.
takes 30 seconds longer to say that specific word that's
Mhm.
going to make them go, oh, yeah, they can help out with citations. I forgot. Or just
Right.
something on that rather than the general concept of tutoring. It would make a world of a difference if that also helps to kind of put it in writing there.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I mean, because, as a longtime faculty member, I always feel like I'm approachable. I always feel like I'm personable.
Yeah.
They get to know me, but it's that just in time thing. And of course, that's something we deal with in instructional design a lot. The idea that you can give students all these great resources on the
Mhm.
first day. That's not going to serve them very well. It needs to be when they need it. And so I
And it's
think
hard to
that's a
know when.
exactly. So I think that's a really good reminder that, if you want to invite the counseling services in, if you want to invite the librarian, don't do it just in the first week. Do it when it's like, here's the assignment that I know they get stressed over. Here's the assignment that I know that they really struggle with. I think that's a really important point. Lastly, I just want to point out, and I think all of you have said it in one version or another, this is about collaboration, right? And so one of the things that I think we don't always do a great job in colleges and universities is having those cross disciplinary conversations, not just between academic disciplines, but with the student support services that are there. So I'm excited about Destination, and I'm excited about this particular group of faculty getting to put, names and faces with some of these services, and hopefully that leads them to reach out, and have some of this be part of their plans for the fall, because I think it really can be, an amazing tool. So I just want to thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you coming in today. In being the being the operative word. But I value all of you. I think it's great. I was excited to meet you, Sadia. I know Emily and I know Helen, but I was very excited. Heather definitely recommended you. She was like, no, you need to invite her. So she was right. You're fantastic, all three of you. So thank you guys. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Thursday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. You
Likewise.
too.